Hi everyone, I'm Adam Brown and this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, February 4th. On today's show, we focus more intently on the tragedies and comedies of William Shakespeare, including another reading from our poetry expert, Dr. Erwin Rudolph. We'll also learn about some Shell Point authors who are all convening in one place for a special literary event next week. But first, we want to remind you about tonight's concert with the Glenn Miller Orchestra. It's a sold-out show, so if you have tickets, make sure you're in your place at 7:30 this evening in the church auditorium. If you missed out, hey, don't worry. We've got plenty of entertaining shows coming to the Shell Point stage this month. Now, the Barbary Coast Dixieland Band are always a favorite. Since 1967, they put on a full stage show, playing the happiest music on earth, guaranteed to get your toes tapping. And as they switch instruments back and forth, even in the middle of a song, you can tell that these are some of the best musicians around. Get your tickets for the Barbary Coast Dixieland Band, performing Friday, February 28th at 7 p.m. at the church auditorium. Tickets are available at either service desk or by calling our box office at 454-2067. And then tomorrow, a few notable events. The Shell Point Garden Society welcomes Master Gardener Melissa Bell, who will discuss growing delicious and productive things in your garden, like herbs and spring vegetables. All are welcome to the Shell Point Garden Society, meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. in the Woodlands Oak Room. Also tomorrow, we begin the next session of Intermediate Bridge with Susan Willoughby, the bridge class for those who want to take their game to the next level. Intermediate Bridge starts tomorrow at 1 p.m. in the game room at the Woodlands. Sign up at either service desk. Today's stories are all about authors, and we begin with an event that brings more than 20 Shell Point authors together in one place. The Gift Shop is sponsoring a Meet the Authors event on Monday at 10 a.m. in the Resident Activity Center. We visited the Gift Shop to learn more.
Hi Shell Point, I'm Melchi Desilets, joined today with two wonderful women. I'm here with Bobbie Peterson from Oakmont and Debbie Melchi from Periwinkle. And we're here today to talk about a special event we have coming up. It's the Gift Shop authors that you get to meet and greet and learn from them and talk with them. Bobbie, tell me a little bit more about this event. We've never had this before, and why are we having it?
We're having it, Melody, because I finally decided that it was time to promote and introduce all the authors here at Shell Point. They're a very unusual group of people, and so I talked to the board about it, and we decided that to do an event like this would be just a perfect opportunity to meet our authors and to talk to them about their books and why they wrote their books.
Now, this is specifically authors of the Gift Shop. And we have such a wide range of talent and past stories, fiction, nonfiction. Debbie, can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to see at this event?
I think you're going to have the opportunity to really get a personal interview, so to speak, or conversation with the authors. I think it takes a lot of courage to write a book, put your personal experiences and thoughts and feelings in writing that everybody can see. And I think this gives you an insight onto just how much they have to offer us. And you really get that one-on-one. And it's nice to put a face with the author to see who indeed it is.
That's so true, and then just having their signature on the book makes it so personal and so nice. What are the different authors and kind of books that we're going to see at the event?
Well, we have authors that are writing children's stories specifically. We have a couple of residents that have lived on their boats for a period of time and have written about the experiences. We have quite a few authors that have written books on their war experiences, which are quite interesting. Many Christian books. We have cookbooks. Just a wide range.
Now, Debbie, why should people come to this event?
Well, I think beyond the obvious of just getting to know the author and their story, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to meet your neighbors, get to know the community more. As a relatively new resident, the books I've read have given me some really positive insight onto just who might be living next door to me or who I'm having coffee with. It's just a really nice opportunity to find out, again, how wonderful Shell Point is and what a bunch of interesting people live here.
Very well said, Debbie. I invite you all to join us for this wonderful event. Once upon a time, someone said, a house without books is like a room without windows. Books are insightful, they're delightful, they're windows to the soul. So let's go out, join the friends and neighbors that we have here at Shell Point. This is taking place Monday, February 10th in the Resident Activity Center on the island, 10 to 12. There's going to be wonderful authors and gift certificates and fun and just a delightful event. We hope to see you there.
So when it comes to literature, it begins and ends with William Shakespeare. We're celebrating Shakespeare's 450th birthday this year with a series of Academy classes by Ray Boyce, who traveled to Oxford to learn more about the bard. He'll be presenting 4 different classes on Shakespeare's tragedies, comedies, tragicomedies, and histories. The first one begins Thursday at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. Let's get a preview.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath, and I'm here today with Ray Boyce of Rosemont. And we're starting to look at 4 plays by Shakespeare in this semester that Ray is sharing his love of Shakespeare with us because we're celebrating the 450th anniversary of Shakespeare's birth. Ray, thanks for joining me.
Nice to be here.
Now we're going to, we've enjoyed the salute to Shakespeare that put us into the perspective, but even if someone had to miss that, they're still welcome to sign up for a play or 2 or 3 or 4, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're starting with the tragedies. Let's talk a minute about the tragedies.
Well, what we'll try to do in the class will be to begin by some discussion of the main characteristics of a tragedy. Shakespeare saw it, not so much as Death of a Salesman today or more modern plays, but to try to look back and examine some of the secondary data on what was available to him, how he saw tragedy, and what are the major developments and theatrical steps that constitute a true tragedy. And we'll do that with Othello, which many people consider his greatest tragedy, possibly his greatest play. And we'll try to look at that and see how relevant it is to today and how it fit into his perceptions of theater and the impact it could have on audiences in that period of time.
And how are you going to look at the tragedies? What can we expect when we come to the class?
I hope that we'll have some dialogue throughout the whole period of time. I'd like to open the discussion with just what we're talking about, the definition of tragedy, a summary of the plot, even if you haven't read it or you've read a Monarch's version of it, feel welcome to come. And look at the characteristics of the characters that appear in the play, try to develop some agreement on the roles they played and their backgrounds and what they represented to Shakespeare. And like all of his plays, there are implications and relevancies to the ordinary lives of the audience that was coming to the theaters at that time, as there are today.
Sure. Now, you're encouraging us to familiarize or reacquaint ourselves with the play through an actual reading or viewing of the work. Where do we find these plays?
Well, they're all over. There are some in our library, I suspect. Libraries have copies of the plays. Libraries have DVDs and CDs now. On the internet, there are access to all of the plays. There are many, many ways to gain access to either to a performance of the play or the text themselves.
Sure, and it'll enrich our experience of looking at each of these.
Absolutely.
All right, so Thursday, February 20th now, we're going to be looking at the tragicomedy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Shakespeare in many of the plays has an ability to weave several stories, several plots, as you probably all know. And in the tragic comedies, like The Winter's Tale, which we're going to explore, the opening of the play is almost entirely devoted to the tragic aspects of the King of Bohemia and his family. And then subsequently, the play shifts to a pastoral setting, and it becomes very, very much a comedic representation of the rural pastoral life that would be going on in that country, Bohemia, at that time. And when you see the play, as I did 2 years ago in New York, it almost is such a contrast to you, and it kind of is bewildering at some point, but then eventually he brings it all back together, and so there's something for everybody. He was a master at weaving stories that would appeal to a diversity of tastes, so to say.
So that's a little bit about how he can combine a comedy and a tragedy in one play.
There's always the conclusion. How does the tragedy or the tragic comedy conclude? Is there a very, very upsetting ending, so to say, or is there a redemptive ending? Is there something that happens in the play that will make us feel that that's the way it should have ended?
Fabulous. Then, March 6th, another Thursday morning, The Histories of Shakespeare.
Well, here it's obvious that he reached back and in his availability of the knowledge they all had at that time of the prior monarchs of England, and he's written a number of plays about all the major figures from Henry VIII to Richard III. And we've chosen Richard III. To some extent, it appealed to me. I saw a production 2 years ago at the Royal Theatre in Stratford, and I've seen it a number of times, but it really is it's a very powerful, very, very upsetting play. And many people, including me, just think that next to Iago, Richard III is the most evil character I've ever encountered. Some people tried to convince me that there are some good things about Richard III. But the play is a story of this man's ambition and reckless behavior to get exactly what he wanted, while he's physically and mentally deformed, I would think. One of the reasons we chose it, because in the last 2 years, the remains of the actual Richard III have emerged outside Leicester, England, and there's been a tremendous attention paid to his history, the Shakespeare Richard III versus the true Richard III. Maybe the true Richard III was a better fellow than the one Shakespeare portrayed. So we thought that would be relevant and interesting to a potential audience here.
That's wonderful. I mean, to think that a brand new discovery can shed light on something that was written 400. Otherwise, these are the histories we know of these people, the histories Shakespeare wrote for us. All right, and then we're going to have our grand finale, which is comedies. And that will be on Thursday, March 20th. And which comedy are we going to conclude with?
Well, we're going to focus on Much Ado About Nothing, his wonderful production in which there is such clever repartee between Benedict and Beatrice, the issue of evolution of women's rights and place in society, which he represents so strongly. Clever, clever writing. The last production I saw of Much Ado About Nothing, again, was at the Globe, and it was a Bollywood production by an Indian company, and that gave me a whole other perspective on how a play like this travels around the world, and how they approached it with their music, with their decorative costuming, and so I thought it would be a fun play to conclude with, and maybe lift our spirits a little bit after the tragedies that we've looked at.
Well, again, we can't thank you enough for sharing your interest in Shakespeare with us, so that we can all celebrate the Bard's birthday.
My pleasure. I hope see folks come out and maybe we'll have fun together.
I think we will. So pay attention to the weekly reminder. Every other Thursday we'll be celebrating Shakespeare.
One of Shell Point's foremost fans of Shakespeare is Dr. Erwin Rudolph, a PhD in English literature, who at 98 can easily recite Shakespeare from memory. To demonstrate, he quoted this famous passage from Hamlet.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take up arms against a sea of trouble, and by opposing in them, to die, to sleep no more. And by a sleep we say we end the heartaches and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub, for in that sleep of death what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. That's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contemplate, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns of patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardel spared or grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, that undiscovered country from whom no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus, conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with disregard their currents turn away and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, nymph in thy orisons be all my sins remembered.
If you want to learn more about the Bard, then come to the first of 4 classes on Shakespeare, this Thursday at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. Now, it's time to cover all of today's happenings, followed by your Academy News, menus, and Village Church Connections.
Welcome to the Happenings segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandler here with Leslie Brand, and we're going to go over the activities we offer here today. We're going to start bright and early at 7:15 with the Health Connections. This is Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That's down in the Health Club. Then we'll go to 8 o'clock where the round robin doubles tennis will go on at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. At 8:15 we have the Stamp Ministry. Volunteers are welcome. They'll be down in the stamp room in the tunnel. At 8:30 the Ladies Golf Association will be at the Shell Point Golf Club. 9 o'clock it's time for bocce. That'll be at the bocce court down at the Woodlands. 9:15 the Caregiver Support Group and Memory Care Group will be on the second floor of the Rehab Center. You do need to sign up for that. 9:15 is open painting in the Art Studio. And then 9:30 we come to match play mixed doubles tennis down at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. 9:45 is the time the Women's Ministries Bible Study will gather at the Village Church. And at 10:15 we have Through the Bible Study Group in the Osprey Room on the island. The Caregiver Support Group and Memory Care Group will be on the second floor of the Rehab Center at 10:30. And then at 11 o'clock we have the Susie Q boat going off to Rum Runners for lunch. You do need to sign up for that. 11:30 the Bloodmobile will be parked at the Village Church, and they will be there from 11:30 until 5 o'clock. And our last morning activity is at 11:45 with the Health Connections class, Living Healthy. That'll be in the Osprey Room on the island. Here's Leslie for your afternoon lineup.
Thank you, Bev. At 12:30, the Mixed Progressive Bridge will be in the game room at the Woodlands. 1:15 is the Knitters Group in the Osprey Room. Also at 1:15 is the Shuffleboard at the Shuffleboard Courts. 1:15, the Rollicking Recorderists will be in the Tarpon Room on the island. And lastly, at 1:15, the Women's Ministries Prayer will be in the Hospitality Room at the Village Church. 1:30 is Stamp Ministry at the Sable Room at the Woodlands. 2:45 is Health Connections Balance and Mobility Training Level 2 in the Health Club. That class is currently full. And at 3:30, the Health Connections Shell Point Pole Walking Care class will be in the Oak Room at the Woodlands. Sign up is required. 4:15, we have a Health Connections Tai Chi Cha will be in the Health Club on the island. That class is currently full. And 7:30 is a Fine and Performing Concert Series. Glenn Miller Orchestra. This will be in the Village Church on the island, and a ticket is required. Thank you for tuning in with us today, and we hope you have a fabulous Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Terry Colath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 9:15, specifications for buying a new computer will take place in the Computer Teaching Center of the island, and sign-up is required. At 9:30, writing your memoirs on a computer begins in the Computer Center at the Woodlands. Sign-up is required. At 10 o'clock, Sandankin, The Land Below the Wind, will take place in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands, and you can sign up right at the door. At 10:15, we have an Apple iPad class. Got one? Now what? In the Manatee Room of the island. And at 1 o'clock, Life Review Reminiscence continues in the Buttonwood Room at the Woodlands. At 1:15, Designing and Making Greeting Cards with a Hallmark program continues in the Computer Teaching Center on the island. And at 4:30, the Alpha course continues for those who are registered. Our new classes coming tomorrow are Intermediate Bridge with Susan Willoughby and an Internet Prep School Help and Support with Richard Nelson of Lakewood. Just a reminder to everyone interested in supporting our friends and neighbors who live in the Larson Pavilion. The Pavilion Auxiliary has volunteer opportunities in many of our committees, and volunteering begins with the monthly orientation. Please look at the back page of your weekly reminder for all of this information. And thank you to all who serve in the auxiliary.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is pulled beef brisket with scalloped potato and corn. The dinner special is the Build Your Own Stir Fry Bar for $12.95, and the soup of the day is cream of mushroom. In the Island Cafe for lunch, enjoy a Turkey Club sandwich with fries for $7.25. The dinner special is grilled tilapia with fresh spinach and tomatoes over rice pilaf for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Tuesday are stuffed chicken breast for $13.95 or baked cod for $16.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with one of my associates, David Pavey, who is one of our pastors on staff and works with a number of different ministries. And we're actually here to talk about a special opportunity that we have about 3 or 4 times a year. So why don't you tell us about that?
Well, this is Coffee with the Pastors, plural.
Okay.
And it's an opportunity for us to get new people who are coming to the church and for them to get to know some of us.
Yeah, that's great. So and we've done this, of course. I've been here for a year, and we've done several of them, and it's been a delight for me, especially. But what is your favorite part about Coffee with the Pastors? What do we gain from it as a congregation?
Well, every time I go to a memorial service here, I find out things about people's lives that I wished I'd known when they were alive. And Coffee with the Pastors has become a little bit like that for me, because not only do we share part of our life story, our journey with some of the new people who are coming to the church, but they have an opportunity to share with us if they want to. And then there's the question and answer exchange and refreshments. And so putting it all together, it's a very warm, fuzzy time when we make new friendships, basically. Mm-hmm.
I can tell you it was a very great benefit to me, especially as a person coming new on staff just last year, to get to know a number of people. And obviously I've gotten to know the leadership of the people in the Village Church, and a lot of people in the Village Church, but I probably know the newcomers as well or better than a lot of those folks because of Coffee with the Pastors. We've really gotten acquainted and developed some really good relationships as a result of having those opportunities. And we also try to get them acquainted with some aspects of the ministries of the church. Obviously, folks that come or either move to Shell Point or decide that they want to come to church at the Village Church at Shell Point really want to find a way to get connected well. And most of us don't have a whole lot more time to do that. Our time is limited, so we don't want to sort of sit around for a long time. We want to find out how to get connected and acquainted with the nature of the life and ministry of the church. And so this is an important opportunity for that as well.
And some of them will actually have a view towards membership too, so they want to go on beyond
That's right.
Getting acquainted personally.
Yeah, there's a way in which those that want to formally associate with the village church can do so. And as a matter of fact, we follow up the Coffee with the Pastors about a week and a half later, the way we're going to do it this time. That would be on February 16th at 4:30 in the afternoon. We have a membership class. That's where people can find out more about the specifics of membership. And we actually have a couple of levels of membership in the village church. We have regular membership and also associate membership, because a lot of people travel and go back north during the various times of the year, and they already have a church home, but they can associate with us in a way that is really, I think, a wonderful association with the village church in pretty much able to do everything that any other member would do, and they're associate members. And so there's that opportunity as well. Certainly not something that is necessary, certainly not a necessary outcome of Coffee with the Pastors, but it's one thing that a lot of people who are new to our fellowship want to find out about and pursue, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, so they have the opportunity to ask any question of the staff who are there. And who would the staff be?
Well, obviously it includes you and me, but that would include Randy Woods, the Minister of Worship and Music, Dr. Sue Stranahan, who's our Minister of Spiritual Care and also head of the chaplains here in the Shell Point community, Don Stainhook, who's the chaplain for the employees at Shell Point, Glenda Stevenson, who's our church administrator. So all of those folks will be present during that time, Lord willing, and be able to answer questions. And they all represent different areas of ministry. Exactly. And that's one of the things that is able to be communicated effectively, I think, in a group like that.
So this is tomorrow.
Tomorrow at
1:15
tomorrow, and it's held in the hospitality room at the village church, and so we're looking forward to that. Always a great time to get acquainted with some new folks, and so it's exciting. David, I'm glad that you're with us on our staff, and you're a pleasure to work with, and I know that we enjoy the people here in the ministry, don't we? Well, thank you for joining us in Village Church Connections, and we hope to see you soon, if not at the Coffee with the Pastors, at perhaps one of our worship services. Thank you for joining us.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as we visit the amazing South American landscape of Patagonia. We'll also get some dancing in without ever leaving our chairs. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, February 4th. I'm Adam Brown, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.